Hello everyone. Today we have been joined by a very special guest, Mr. Abhishek Gupta, who is the director of product at Expedia Group. He comes with a nearly 2 decades of work experience in both B2B and B2C industries, and he has also led product teams at some of the biggest names like Amazon, Snapdeal, Freecharge, Great Learning, and now he is leading Expedia. He has been recognized as one of the India's leading top 100 product managers by the Product Folks Forum, and he has been awarded as the LinkedIn's top management voice twice. So, Mr. Abhishek, it would be a great honor to having discussing with you the conversation. So I'll just start off with my first question. So, so, seeing your fantastic journey from service giants like Wipro and Infosys to leading products at titans like Expedia and Amazon, could you please walk us through your pivotal moments or key transitions that defined this path?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me here. So, if I look back at my journey, I think it could be split into three pivotal phases. The first is foundations in services. So, that's where I started my career with companies like Infosys and Wipro, primarily working for some of the biggest banks across US and Europe in payments and banking domain. While working for those projects, that's where I learned the fundamentals of these domains, as well as I also learned the technical background, technical basic skills. Those have really helped me throughout my career going forward. So, my first transition to product management happened when I got an offer at Comviva. That was a turning point in my journey. At Comviva, I was a product manager for their global mobile money platform. That is where I learned the nuances of doing product management at scale. Then at Amazon, the bar was even higher. I learned how customer obsession can truly influence the quality of the product which you build and how it can be operationalized in product decision making. Post that, my role at Snapdeal and Freecharge, that's where I was fortunate to have led the delivery of some of the industry first innovative features like BNPL, UPI, and scale them for millions of users. These experiences have given me an immense experience or exposure to how to solve customer problems at scale. Then the next pivot happened when I joined Great Learning, and that's where I got an opportunity to even own the P&L of the business. And that gave me a very different perspective of marrying product strategy with business outcomes. During my role at Great Learning, I got an opportunity to even grow users as well as grow the business revenue while staying profitable while maintaining the CACs of the business lower. Now, currently at Expedia, while this is again an interesting role wherein I am looking after global payment orchestration as well as global order management, while making sure that experience is seamless across the different geographies to all our travelers and partners.
Understood.
So, what if I look back at all my transitions? There were two things which were defining the directions or as a guiding principle for my different transitions. One was the desire to solve problems for users at scale, and second, always curiosity to learn new things, be it in a new domain, scale, or new leadership skill. So these two things have been always constant in all my transitions.
Understood. Looking back from my journey as well, I could feel the same. So I also come from a services background. So I worked 2 years at Wipro. Then I transitioned to product management where I worked it in a startup. Then I am here. So it sort of feels like we are in the same journey. And
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yes. And coming to my next question, you have the combination of IIT and engineering plus MBA, and that is a deadly combination, as they would say. So how has this helped you shaping up your career, and how does the technical skills helped you in pursuing the product management, and how are you seeing the product growth?
Absolutely. So during my engineering days, or during my days at IIT, the skills which I got to hone on were the knack of solving problems, having analytical bent of mind, looking at data, looking at breaking problems into smaller pieces. So those skills are still with me when I do my day-to-day product management role. And when I went to a B school, that gave me a different lens of looking at everything from business standpoint, looking at P&L, looking at profitability, growth, scale. All these things really helped me to look at an overall larger picture of when you are trying to solve a problem, how it is going to impact the business at a larger.
Nice to hear that. And as I was mentioning in the introduction as well, you have been rewarded with LinkedIn's top product management voice. So, is there any particular reason behind sharing your learnings on public? And so, what shaped you to believe in sharing it to the public?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was quite humbling to receive those badges of LinkedIn Top Product Management Voice. So I always believe in paying it forward or believing in giving it back to the community. When I was in my early career and product management, I got an immense help from my seniors and mentors. So I believe if I can do my bit and share all my experiences and all my learning with the product fellow community, I think that I would do my bit. Secondly, it is a two-way street. Not only I am just sharing, I am also learning a lot by hearing their own perspectives, their own learning and their own experiences. And thirdly, when you write something in public, you also have to think through how can you distill your entire experience into one single post. How can you
Correct.
really put it in a way that it is of real value to the readers? How can you? So all in all, I think this has been a very enriching experience both ways, and I definitely like to continue doing that. Yeah.
Great to hear that. Moving from the general questions into your role at Expedia. So you have been, as you said, you are building a global payment orchestrator, and a standout achievement that I came across is the reduction of over 30 percentage of failed customer interactions. Could you please break down the problem and explain it further? And what does then FCI looks like, and what kind of product thinking goes behind it? ML driving routine or UI fixes and so on.
Sure. So one of the missions at Expedia is to provide seamless experience to its travelers when they are booking,
Yes.
making the booking on the platform. FCI stands for failed customer interactions. When these lead to a preventable poor experience to the traveler, that is a lost trust on the platform and a lost revenue, and maybe you will see the customer not even coming back to the platform.
Yeah.
So when we applied our again problem solving skills,
Yes.
so we first looked at the entire data, segmented the data into different themes, then looked at which are the top buckets which are emerging from this data. Then we attacked each one of them, whether we can really fix them at root or if we can mitigate by building a strong recovery mechanisms. So like if we can have smart retry mechanisms whenever somebody encounters a recoverable payment error.
Yes.
Can we use machine learning? Can we use data to build intelligence so that it can turn out to be actionable insight or a message to the traveler, which they can really course correct in their next attempt? Or we can also build some of the capabilities in-house wherein you are preventing those invalid attempts to happen.
Yes.
By doing a more user-centric design in your platform. So this is where we have been able to reduce our failed customer interactions by 30% in the last 6 months. And we are on a mission to make sure that every customer interaction on the platform is of delight rather than that of friction.
Understood. Good to hear that. And coming in the same perspective, you have worked at Freecharge and also Snapdeal. So, coming on to the lines of taking the charge of UPI infrastructure at Freecharge. So, during this period, UPI was very nascent period. And so, what are the most unique challenges that you have got through or you have found while building the platform or the product. So can you also explain the difference between the India market versus the global market while implementing these solutions?
Now that's a great question. So when you look at building products in payment ecosystem in India, I think there are several unique nuances to it. You need to always think about speed of innovation. The way tech is evolving in
Yes.
India and it's getting adopted in India, it's huge. So you need to always look at speed of innovation, adopting that. Secondly, scale. India is a volumes game, right? You are already talking about billions of transactions.
Yes.
So that is another thing which we need to be cognizant of. Thirdly, it's a hyper competitive market. We already see there are a lot of players in the ecosystem. So how, and that's where it leads to very thin margin. So you need to always keep in mind that while you are solving for giving a very seamless experience to the users, but you need to also make sure that the unit economics is maintained. While there are some non-negotiables, these are trust, security, and compliance, because you're talking about payments domain. So during my experience while launching UPI at free charge, while we were always looking at giving a very good experience on the UI UX front, we also had other challenges of educating the customer, because it was a very new payment method.
Yes.
Also helping them gain trust in this new payment method, right? And also making sure that compliance requirements are met. So we were also trying to see from a customer lens that they are feeling it confident to use this as a payment method, right? And there is reliability in this payment method. So that is where we had a lot of challenges. If payment fails, how
Yes.
do we really recover that situation? How do we really convey a very user-friendly message to the customer so that they feel that, hey, we are with them, we have their back, and they are covered. So these were the challenges which we used to have when we were scaling UPI in the early years of UPI launch in India.
To
Yeah.
keep the momentum short, so are there any specific problems or unique problems that you have come across from the customer's perspective, like when they gave a review about it, or some of the strangest things that you remember?
Yeah, there are many of them. So in fact, I'll just call out, in the earlier days, there used to be a unique payment error which used to happen, and that was just a code which used to come from the downstream payment processors, and it was very technical in nature, and
Yeah.
this was something which directly comes from the processor, and we used to just show it, and that was totally not friendly. User wouldn't know what that means.
Yeah.
So we had to really like sit down and look at all those error codes, try to see if we can put them in a way which is easy to understand and interpret. So once a scenario happened wherein they just said that this U19 or U something was the error code, and it created always like, what is U19 or what exactly that means. So there were a lot of such issues, and every time when a new error code happens, you need to always make sure that those are covered and you have actually put a very user-friendly error message for those error scenarios which are coming during our payment processing workflow. So as somebody was mentioning, in a UPI payment processing, there are 26 different API calls which happen. So
Yes.
anything can break at any point in time. So you need to make sure that your system is quite robust and you are covering each and every exception scenario
Yes.
well, so that you are not leading customer in a very jittery stage.
Yes.
Yeah. And just to answer your previous question regarding global payments,
Mm.
so they have a different that's a different ball game altogether.
Yeah.
Because that's where you need to also look at multiple payment methods across different countries. Let's say it is Ideal in Netherlands, Klarna in Europe, PayPal in US, and NeverPay, let's say, in Korea. Right now, how
Yeah.
do you really orchestrate all these different payment methods?
Correct.
When each payment method might have its own different UX, own different fraud rules, or different compliances, right? So that's where it becomes even more challenging for you to make sure that end of the day experience is seamless or consistent for the travelers who are
Correct.
coming to your platform. So that is the difference between payment ecosystems in India vis-a-vis global payment ecosystem.
So, getting deeper into this, so how do you maintain consistency across these platforms, and what are some of the frameworks or tools that you use to make sure that the experience is consistent?
Yeah, so that is where all goes back to the basics of how a job needs to be done. So if a customer has come and they are trying to book a ticket or book a flight or book a hotel, when they're coming to a website, you need to make sure that when they are and on the checkout page, right,
Yeah.
and there's a payment method which they have selected, so the processing of that is something which you need to make sure that that happens seamlessly.
Yes.
What are the recoverable payment errors which come, and how can you really preempt them? How can you really solve for them? Are there smart retry attempts which you have built in your processing engine? If there is if there's a negative response from one processor, can you smartly route it to a different processor? So these all things can happen through machine learning based dynamic routing algorithms. So there are a lot of such payment orchestration, I would say, synergies or best practices which we can implement just to make sure that you are trying to mitigate as much as possible all these errors which can come.
Got it. So, looking towards the future, so how do you see the AI shaping the product management perspective and also the payment infrastructure perspective?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. AI's role in product management, I think it is across the entire product life cycle. So right from like streamlining or optimizing your operations as well as execution of tasks.
Yeah.
It is definitely something which can do things at scale, which is humanly impossible to be done. So if you have to really skim through all the testimonials, right, it can just quickly do that in just a jiffy.
Yeah.
So all those things which requires scale, which requires a lot of things to be done in one go, AI is definitely there to help you out. It definitely helps to augment your work and get it done sooner and faster. Second is, it's also about how AI could be leveraged in personalization, in giving a better experience. How can you really use all the data and get into a good prediction model, right? When this is the best recommendation for you. Some of the best product apps which you have seen, which you love the most, are the ones which have come up with the excellent recommendation engines, right? So that is where AI is definitely helping people. From my own experience at Great Landing in my previous company, we had used ML models extensively to reduce our acquisition cost by 40% and the nurturing cost by 66%. So that is a benefit of using machine learning, using all the historical data and build intelligence from that data and then using it to streamline your workflows and build efficient systems. Yeah. And the third phase of that is in product development, right? So how it can help product managers and product leaders, right? So that's where it can help them in like writing a crisp document, making it much more crisper in terms of narrative writing. Also design iterations can also be done very quickly, right? Or we are talking about vibe coding these days. So all these things can be done much more seamlessly using all the AI tools which are available out there. So it's just that we just have to see which all capabilities are emerging and how we can leverage all that. So the rule here is that more AI fluent you become, the better and smarter PM you will end up becoming. So that is how I look at AI in this space. Yeah.
Talking about AI and the product management, so how can one prepare himself or herself as a student since we are graduating out? So how can we be prepared for the AI revolution, and what are the things that you would suggest one should follow?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I think one is definitely the curiosity. You need to be quite adaptable. You need to have a growth mindset. So whatever new technology comes, you need to make sure that you are fully aware of that. Use it on your day-to-day work so that you start getting the sense of it. You know which all new use cases are coming up, so then you can use them. Try your hands on those things so that whenever the need arises, you can be fluent in using those. That is one. Second is, while AI is there to help you with scalability and leverage, right, in terms of all those things which are technical or repetitive in nature can be done through AI, but it actually allows you and gives you time to do higher order thinking, right? That's where you can really go deep in empathy, deep in customer empathy, and you can think more around customer pain points. Customer discovery can be done much better, right? So the skills which I feel which are going to be still relevant even in AI age are empathy, because AI can synthesize data, but someone has to really go and talk to customers, observe customers, right? Then only you will know that this is the pain point with the customer. So this empathy element is something which can definitely give you an edge. Second is, it's about art of influencing or aligning stakeholders. That is something which product manager only has been doing, and they should continue to do. I don't think any AI tool can replace that. So how do you really put your narrative in such a convincing manner or a storytelling manner that you put the problem clearly, articulate it well, make sure that everybody is aligned and on the same page. So this is again a very good skill to really hone on. Like how do you really communicate well. Your soft skill element really helps you in doing that. Thirdly, it is also about, in any product management role, you always will have situations wherein there is speed of execution, because AI definitely can do things faster.
Yes.
But someone has to be thoughtful whether the speed which you are doing, are you really looking at it holistically? Are you missing something in the larger scheme of thing when you are looking at pace of execution?
Yes.
So someone has to really reflect upon it. Are you going the right direction? Is it really aligned to the larger vision and mission of the company? So are you really leveraging the core value proposition of the business? Right? So this thoughtfulness, this human element, empathy, all these things are still relevant for product managers in times to come. And I think I would also like to add one very important point, that when it comes to product managers, it all comes with experience, but you need to also build a good product sense muscle. What that means is that intuition.
Yes.
Right? It's not that you will have data at all point in time. Sometimes you have to have that gut feel, and that only comes when you have really done it over and over.
Yes.
When you have really built that muscle of asking those questions of why they have done this, right? And then you go behind the superficial, and then you think about maybe that is the reason, right? That actually builds a good intuition.
Yes.
So that sense of product sense is something which is very, very crucial for product managers, and those who have it are definitely going to have a great contribution to the company. And there's a very common thing which is coming up nowadays, is full stack product manager.
Yes.
So with AI, emergence of AI, now roles are blurring between engineer, designer, data analyst, and product. So those product managers who can speak the language of engineers, designers, and data analysts, they will definitely have an edge over other product managers. So I think this is holistically, these are the things which we need to kind of continue focusing on. And at the same time, in product management, they also say that while there is a lot of data, there's a lot of analysis can be done through AI. But it's all about someone has to craft a product vision and say that, okay, I want this problem to be solved. Which problem needs to be solved? What are the right questions to be asked? That still is something which product managers can only do. So I'm a strong believer in having the strong fundamentals of product management.
Yes.
They are still relevant. They'll continue to be relevant. Just that AI is an enabler or a tool which can augment all the work which a product manager is doing.
Make it much faster.
Absolutely.
Got it. So essentially, you are talking about empathy, core value proposition, customer understanding, and knowing the fundamentals of all product management.
Absolutely.
That remains to be same. Understand. Yes. Talking about the next question. So, with all this experience over the years, so what is the what has been the most unexpected challenge that has come across you with all the PM experience and couldn't fully prepare you for?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So, from my experience, there have been times when there was some uncertainty in the business and in the company, right? And as a leader, everybody will look up to you for clarity, right? And they will look up to you for stability, confidence.
Yes.
But in sometimes even you as a leader wouldn't have all the information. Even you have that sense of uncertainty. But at the same time, you need to keep your calm. You need to come across as more decisive, more confident in front of them.
Yes.
So these are very, very unique challenges. Or let's say when there's a larger organizational pivot which is happening, big reorg or some big decision has been taken, which is little unpopular. And then you as a leader has to still navigate and make sure that all your teams are eventually aligning to that. Yes. You need to communicate transparently. You need to show that sense of emotional resilience. You need to come across as someone which is honest, truthful, and you might say that, hey, I understand, even I may not be having all the answers to questions, but hey, let's navigate it together.
Yes.
That is something which is very challenging, and it's very nobody would get prepared for it. Because when you have multiple team members, stakeholders, and you need to make sure that they all understand why this is happening, and sometimes even you don't have the answers. So I've had such scenarios. So these are things which actually make you much more evolved product person than any other product launches, I would say.
Got it. This is one question that has been with me for a long time, since I've been working as a product manager previously. So as a product manager, you don't have any authority over the other teams. And one such question that I come across multiple times is how do you create that influence without the authority?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So that's what product management is all about, to influence without having authority. And that's where you need to go and influence not just people, let's say, below your hierarchy, you need to go and influence marketers or engineers, designers, even people from different departments, right? So that is where the playbook is very simple. You need to be advocate of customer in the room. You are the one who is asking the right questions. You are the one who is aligning all the stakeholders by having immense clarity over the problem statement. If you know your craft well, if you have done your homework well, as in if you know who your customers are, what their needs are, what their pain points are, and you've clearly articulated in a way that everybody understands that, I think you have done your job well, because they will say that, okay, this guy really knows the pulse of the end customer. He really knows, he's having the deepest of empathy, right, with respect to customers, and he's representing customers in the room. So I would say this actually happens once you do that over and over, and you have clear reasoning and rationale behind why you are proposing or why what you are actually putting across in front of them. So that is where it's an art. Basically, you need to do it, and that's where you become good at it. And there's no such like straightforward way to do it, but it's more about you really fall in love with the problem, do a proper problem discovery, put it across to all the stakeholders. Influence will happen, and they would definitely appreciate you for that.
So this is also the mantra for getting the stakeholders approval.
Absolutely.
Got it. Coming to the last round of this, so this is sort of a rapid fire round. I would just ask a question and the answers would be 1-2 liners about it.
Sure.
Yep. So let's get started. So one book every product manager must read.
Inspired by Marty Kagan.
Yes, it's already on my book list. So the second one is a product you personally admired for its brilliant design.
Yeah, so the product which is WhatsApp is what I use very often. It's quite usable, user-friendly, quite innovative. Yeah.
Wow, simple.
Very simple.
Yes. And so what's a bigger challenge? Launching a new product from 0 or scaling an existing product from 1 to 10x?
I think scaling it from 1 to 10x is more challenging. Because you might have to really relook at what has been thought through earlier and then think about scaling it further. So it's quite challenging.
Got it. Data or intuition? Which one do you lean on when you are truly stuck at one place?
Intuition, because that's where your product sense comes into picture.
I understand. And what's the biggest misconception people talk about the head of product role?
Yeah, so people often have an impression that head of product role is all about delegating tasks, talking about vision, strategy. At the same time, they also have to look at unblocking team, finding out what next to be done. So these are all like getting into like enabling them, unblocking the team members. So that is where a lot of bandwidth also gets spent on. So, and let's say there's some constraints which have got added. So how does a head of product really unblock the team members to make sure that those constraints are still maneuvered through more innovation or through some workarounds? These are also equally important role.
Got it. And one piece of advice that you would give yourself when you are 25 years old, looking back?
Yeah. Stop trying to find the right answer. Start asking the right questions. I think that is very important. So if you ask the right questions, the solution will definitely come. So probe more in the problem is what I understand.
This one I would definitely take on myself. A favorite metric that you love to track?
End of the day, it is customer success which matters. So customer success rate or whatever equivalent you have.
Yes. If you have to describe product management in a single word, what it would be?
In these times it is adaptive product management which matters.
Yes. This comes to the end of rapid round. It's been a pleasure talking to you for the last 30 minutes, and I have a very good amount of takeaways from this discussion. Thank you for having this discussion.
My pleasure. Thank you.